You guys, I actually missed you guys last week. Last week we took a break. Yes. You know why we took a break last week? Now I'm going to let you in a little secret that our producer didn't tell us. Because last week wasn't Gilbert's birthday. So we made sure he worked today on his birthday.
That's a good sign.
Happy birthday again, Gilbert.
Oh, thank you very much. Yes.
And now we have to open the show.
Yes.
Welcome everybody to this episode of In Our Humble Opinion.
Ayo! I'm working on my birthday.
Exactly.
It's a good sign.
Yeah, it's a good sign. That's the reason why you're sitting on my right and you're sitting on my left. I'm actually sitting in the damn center and I've got to moderate the whole darn episode today.
Yep, we'll support you.
Yep, thank you very much. And since we're there now, we're here and we're in front of the cameras.
Yes.
What are we going to be talking about today? Today we're talking about this wonderful place that I like.
Graceland.
Oh, yeah, that too. But I'm talking about Singapore.
Okay.
Zouk. Clever people. We're going to talk more about what's happening in Zouk. These guys have really did a pivot, man, during this COVID-19 period.
I thought they're closed.
You wait long, boy. These fellas know how to survive, I can tell you that.
And reinvent yourself.
Yeah, they reinvented. We'll cover that as we... Can you guys let me finish this first? I'm rude, no, y'all. Okay.
Eager to join in.
Wait, it's your birthday. Take a breath.
Exactly. Let me do a bit more of talking today. Yeah? Okay. Now, and then we're going to be making some public service announcement about, now that we are looking good so far in Singapore, where the coronavirus pandemic is concerned.
Yes.
And then we are also going to be talking about this absolute kotek of a fella. I'm sorry, I just couldn't help myself. Okay. This guy who was so absolutely racist, and that one, Daisy can see her face, huh? Daisy's going to explode.
See my face.
She's going to tell us more about that.
Yes.
And then I'm going to be talking about this other...
All very angry
speechless
subjects
already.
today. All very angry subjects.
bigger kotek,
Yeah.
who did something, to his employee, or rather that's what his employee is saying. So we're going to be talking about that story. And then now we're going to start the show proper. Zouk. What can I say? You guys know that when the COVID situation occurred, right? We had nightclubs and bars across the world that shut down.
Except in the US.
If you count that country part of the world. Okay. I'm only kidding.
Mentally, they are different.
Sensibly.
For now,
On their own path.
For one more week, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yes.
You guys, can you please stop cross-talking? Okay.
Gilbert,
Okay.
it's your birthday. Take a breath.
Oh, man.
Yes.
Sensibly.
Yes.
This is the 5th time I'm saying this, I think. Our country, we know that we have to shut these down, right? Because we learned through experience that from other countries like South Korea, Japan, they reopen and they open the clubs, and then boom, second wave comes.
Absolutely.
And I feel sorry for them. Don't get me the wrong way, man. I do feel sorry for these guys. The clubs are suffering. My musician friends, my DJ friends are suffering. I wish that something could be done, some new idea, new plans to come in, where these clubs could pivot, people get their jobs back. But I gotta say, Zouk pivoted. Now we know that these guys started this spin exercise thing on the spin bikes. I think they do it on certain days.
Yes.
But they've done something else now. Zouk now has built for themselves in their premises, existing premises, a cinema club. Okay, and I've looked at pictures of this place, man. The Zouk Cinema Club, and they actually make it so thematic to the movies that they screen. And like for example, it's an immersive. They say it's an immersive, one of a kind theatrical experience, state of the art lighting. Because we know Zouk already has state of the art lighting, even in as a club, right? For a club, they definitely need to have those, and the sound system effects. It's gonna. I just cannot imagine I should try it out. I should go experience this for myself. How it's going to be like.
Okay, so from what I understand is that it's $75 plus for a table of 2, including drinks. So that kind of prices it around what the GV Gold Class and the premium seats are in those cinemas.
Really?
Yeah, that's about 30 something per person.
Yeah,
in
but this is
GV.
75 plus.
For 2.
Oh, for 2. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
a table of 2. So it's about the same price as that. So, several questions. One is, would people who used to go to Zouk be interested in paying this amount to go and watch movies? Because, obviously we know even the cinemas themselves, priced at $12 or whatever it is, are suffering because even after the reopening for a while, because people are just watching Netflix at home. That's one thing. But I think after COVID, people are now so sick of being at home and looking at TVs. They're looking for any excuse to go out. So I'm just curious as to what Zouk is offering, because obviously there will be alcohol, right? Is that
Yep.
served there? There will be alcohol?
Yep, there will be.
Yeah. So,
Let me
but you
tell you-
can't socialize the same way, right? Because you're just there with your date. And
Well,
it's-
it's still better than Zouk not doing anything.
Oh, sure. No,
Correct.
no.
They stay-
I
That's-
think it's kudos to
that's-
them for doing it.
yeah,
I'm
that-
just talking about the demand
Correct.
for something like this.
No, you see, that's the point that what you said about to say is that what I'd really want to talk about, because you realize in this situation that necessity is the mother of invention. And it is so heartening to hear when these companies do not take no for an answer, do not want to give up. They continuously are willing to reinvent themselves. So instead of the customer coming to me, I'm going to do it in such a way that we will make sure that we can go to the customers also at every level.
But-
See, I just want to share with you this. I really need to.
What did Omar say about it?
IPL. No, really.
IPL?
It is, yeah.
IP
The Indian,
hair removal?
The Indian Premier League.
Oh, so,
I thought-
sorry.
Thank you.
IPL is a hair removal treatment. I was like, okay, Daisy, do you really want to go there?
Well, but I do want to go to the Indian Premier League because
I never
you
heard
see,
of-
we are talking
sorry.
about Zouk, right? We are talking about Zouk with also the impression or the thinking about how do companies reinvent themselves. I mean, that's what I'd like to know because, okay, so they have a
how
jug.
did IPL reinvent themselves?
So you see, it is one of the biggest events on the sports calendar in the world. Okay?
It's cricket, is it?
Cricket.
Ah, okay, no wonder.
And what they've done is, I mean, lots of events started going online, but what they did was first to continue, and it continues for 1 over month. They went to a safe zone. They went to the UAE, and there they are actually streaming online, but they've gone back to 10 years of audio, and they have actually edited that audio and put it on in such a way that if, like, for example, one of the well-known cricketers, Virat Kohli, which has nothing to do with the hair removal, is just a very, very famous cricketer. I can understand both of you not interested in cricket at all, but
Yes.
for me, like,
Yeah.
cricket is the game.
Slowly, my eyes are glazing over.
So the audio, it's fantastic. What really appeals to me is how people use technology or how people use their creativity
Sure,
in
sure.
making,
To
reinvent
reinvent
their
things.
business.
Yes, okay.
And this audio, when it comes on, if Virat Kohli is batting, the sounds and the crowd yelling is about Virat in such a way that the experience is so complete that if you were watching IPL on television, for a single second, you would not know that there is no audience in the
Sure,
stands.
sure. Okay.
Now, I know I'm
understand.
veering
Yeah,
away
yeah.
from
No,
Zouk,
I understand.
but
That's
this
fine.
is
But it's all about
the
companies.
world,
But I
the
don't
way
know,
they're
man. I mean,
inventing.
if I were to watch an IPL procedure on TV, it's simply not cricket.
Yes, no.
No, but
And
they have
hopefully
that-
it wouldn't be on TV.
No, but maybe they would because the IPL, those companies are also reinventing and showing hair removal on TV.
But
You never know.
Gilbert
YouTube,
said Gilbert said
YouTube,
something
right?
about Gilbert said something about demand. I don't know how the demand is going to be like for this. I'm pretty confident it's going to be quite good demand. I mean, look, we also felt that opening up a jumbo jet
Yes,
for
yes.
lunches.
Yeah.
Correct,
But
correct.
this
Sold
guy
out.
was selling out, man.
And a lot of
Yes.
a lot of people posted photos from it on Facebook, and it looked like fun. They said, okay, here we are taking the staircase that no one ever sees in there because it's the first class staircase.
Yeah.
The
Yes, it goes up,
suites.
yes.
Yeah.
You can go sit on the suite's bed, you
Yeah.
know, sit in a cockpit. So I see, kudos to these companies
Yeah, yeah.
for being creative.
So this is where I need to support local, to support this country, and to support clubs like Zouk.
Yes.
I know. I mean, I don't know if the producers will be frowning at me for doing this, but frankly, let's try to save enterprise in Singapore. Zouk, you're not sponsoring us yet,
Yeah.
but you might want to consider because I'm going about what we're going to do right now. They have table packages on Wednesdays for their movie nights on Wednesdays. For 1 to 2 packs, it's 75 plus. And you get a jug of house pour spirits or house pours and Zouk's signature Long Island tea. And for 3 to 5 packs, that would be 175 plus, where they'll receive the customer will receive 3 jugs of house pour and Zouk's signature Long Island tea. Thursdays and Saturdays are also happening. For 1 to 2 packs for 150 plus, you will receive a bottle of Moet. And for 3 to 5 packs at 350 plus, a bottle of Moet and a bottle of Belvedere.
Chris,
Man, you
I
sound
think
like
they
you're doing a voiceover
Yeah,
for-
I think they do need to
So
invite
Zouk, you know what
Why-
the hell you have to do for this show now.
Wow. But
Okay.
let me just say, because we are glamorizing Zouk so much, and you might get a call to have their Moet Chandon for the $75. I just want to say there are other companies. For example, I know somebody who has a regular factory, and they diverted certain of their machines to help source for ventilator parts from all over the world. Because they realized
Yes.
that some of the old ventilators had to be brought back to help with the pandemic.
Yes.
And yeah, they're not as glamorous as the Moet Chandon, but hey, they're doing their job. And yes, Zouk,
When you do it, you just sound
invite
drunk.
me with these two guys. No. but I've got to be there with you guys, because Chris will invite.
Okay.
So,
I
Zouk,
think that's good.
right,
Also, they have a Capital, which is inside Zouk, was turned into a restaurant. Did you guys know that?
What, sorry?
In Zouk, there is a club called Capital.
Is there?
Yes,
I
and
thought
that
it was
was
called Velvet.
no. Capital basically is the
I
high
think they
end
keep changing the
section.
names so
no,
fast
it's
that-
one section inside Zouk.
So
And
you've gone to the high end, is what you're telling us. No,
Hello,
is that's
Milo.
what you...
Yeah, I've only
that's
been to
all.
Capital,
So didn't
yeah.
you feel it's your birthday and you'd like to take us there?
No, because I don't club, and
He's
it's not
saying
club
no.
anymore. But it turned into a restaurant. So what my point basically is that Zouk's sort of transformation of itself. This is not the first. They already started with a restaurant,
Right.
where they convert Capital into a restaurant. So,
So
good for them.
Well done, companies who have reinvented yourselves.
So
and-
now I think obviously this, as you said, is the necessity out of necessity. It was born invention.
Yeah.
The thing that's interesting is that for the past several days now, we have had 0 cases in Singapore, both in the dormitories as well as the community,
Right.
which is a first in a very long time.
Well done.
Thank God for that.
Thank you, God. Yes.
The only ones we've had are the imported cases, well controlled. But this leads up to a lot of different things that we can talk about and a lot of issues. One is the ever-present danger of complacency.
Yeah.
Already, I know online people are chafing as to why we are not in phase 3. There's no more cases and all that. So, as the quasi-medical reporter for this team here,
Health Zone.
Health Zone, host of Health Zone Singapore, what you guys need to keep in mind is that just because there are no known cases does not mean the virus is gone.
Okay, correct.
You really need to be aware of this. There are definitely and could be people who are asymptomatic who do not even know they're carrying the virus. And if crowds start to congregate in large numbers without masks, without social distancing, it's very easy it could ignite again. In fact, you've seen it happening in other countries when they were down to 0 and then
The second
suddenly
phase,
something
very
came up
scary.
again.
Europe.
And I think that this sense of complacency, we have to watch it. And in other parts of the world, which I think is also likely here in Singapore, if we allow this to happen, is that it's being driven by young people. Because young people are the ones who are asymptomatic most likely. They're the ones who are the most impatient about going out and partying and clubbing and whatever it is again. So I think that, a report by the Wall Street Journal looking in worldwide trends just showed that young people were actually the main drivers of the second and third waves in these other countries. So we need to be aware of this here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but
Absolutely.
then again, there are also people going around spreading fake news, isn't it? Right?
Yes.
It's happening again, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
And we would just like to caution everybody to please ignore most of these news. Get it directly from what the government has got to release to
yes,
us.
yes.
Look, fake news is here to stay. I mean, we've mentioned this
Yeah.
before.
We just need to have
But
filters.
but the
And
way...
we have to be our own filter. The
Right.
filter's up here.
Yeah, but the way
you
it
know.
is decimated is becoming so sophisticated. I mean, when we saw that video of the anti-vaxxers, who, for example, was telling us about why not to take the
Yes,
vaccine,
yes.
even if there is a good enough vaccine.
Yes, to them there is no good vaccine.
No, but you see, when you listen to it, it sounds so credible
Yeah, yeah,
that
of course.
you, to combat that, now, to combat fake news, you need more than just, I'm telling you this is wrong and this is right. Now it's gone to another level that to say, this is fake news, you need to be able to
Yes,
give
but
proper
honestly,
information,
yes.
education, be
If
able
people
to...
just did a little bit of research on their own, they will be okay. Because the internet is a wonderful thing. You can find credible sources of information. So, for example, when I first saw, there was this video that maybe some of you have gotten in your WhatsApp. In general, if you get stuff on your WhatsApp, from your auntie, your uncle, whoever it is, just be usually very suspicious of it, because that's really one of the big ways that fake news spreads is through WhatsApp. So after I watched this video for a little while, and luckily for me, I've got a background.
anti-vaccine, the anti-vaxxers,
I just did a little bit of research, right? And a little bit of research revealed all of the flaws that were presented in this video. How they take something and then they misjudge it or purposely twist it and all of that.
But sorry, you see what happens is, and I say because you say, okay, maybe an auntie or a cool grandmother like me. I look at something, there is an immediate reaction where without realizing it, subconsciously you believe what you look
Yes.
at. If it is packaged in a very credible manner and they talk in a very specific way. And that comes from something deeper. It is now a distrust that you start having for Big Pharma, a distrust for doctors, a distrust for people talking. Fauci says something, Trump says, no, he's an idiot. I think the time has come when you need a lot more than just discard or accept. And to remove the wheat from the chaff is becoming more and more difficult.
Well,
is what
actually,
I'm
you see, that's
saying.
what my point is actually it's not that difficult. You just need to do a little bit of research. And to your point, right, a lot of times when people get stuff on WhatsApp or other social media, some of it is sophisticated like this video, but a lot of it is not. A lot of it is just text messages, which people still forward, you see. So I think there is a generational thing as well. I think generally people who are less tech savvy would tend to believe what they see and then send it along.
No, I think if you're an anti-vaxxer, right, and this is your belief, and these kind of guys, mati, die, they will not give in,
Yeah.
right? They won't.
That's a very strong belief. Again, it's belief systems, faith.
If you want to believe in that, then by all means go ahead and do your best.
Yeah, but
do
they
your
see it as
worst.
a mission to.
Yeah, but don't go out there.
It's
and-
proselytizing like a
yes,
religion.
Correct.
You know, you must
So-
join my religion.
Polio returned because in Pakistan they used religion, whether it was a fake reason or what, to stop giving children the polio vaccine.
Yes,
And we
terrible.
could not eradicate polio.
Yeah,
It's yet
yeah,
there, you
yeah,
see.
It's terrible.
So I'm going to say something to the anti-vaxxers, I mean, if you guys really want to go all out natural and have things happen because the vaccines are not really good for you, this is my advice. Take a thumb, turn it this way, put it in your mouth and suck on it. That will help you get rid of all diseases and illnesses. And that is fake news.
But
Yeah.
but
Idiots.
Chris, there are people who we meet who swear by it, and their children, they're young adults now, and they
I've
show
met
you their
one of
kids
them.
and
Yeah,
say,
I have met
"Look,
one of them."
there is nothing
Yeah,
wrong
but
with
you're
them."
not seeing those who then
No,
do get sick.
but you see what happens, Gilbert.
Yes.
Again, this is because of history. This is because of the fact that there have been times in history where pharma releases medicine for the sake of commercialization, money, and it backfires.
Okay, again,
And-
that's a very general comment
mean-
which I would find fault with, because you need to look at specific cases. They never release it just for money. They release it partly for money, but partly because they've gone through trials, they've seen that it works, but they don't test it enough or
yes,
whatever
no,
it is.
I agree.
So
The
there is no
balance-
perfect
Right.
medication
No, this
out there.
this
right?
discussion, I'm trying to say when Chris said
Yeah.
that they are so strong in their beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
which you'd be for your religion, for your faith. That belief is very difficult to shake. So when that comes in the form of news,
Yeah.
that is very, very difficult to remove the fake news from the real
Yeah,
news.
so I would say then, aside from the people who are hardcore true believers in these no vaccine things, the majority of us who get stuff through social media just need to be more circumspect,
wary,
more
yes,
wary.
yes.
And it's very easy to understand why. I'll just explain it. This is a totally new medium to human history. Previously, you only read about things in the newspapers or you watch it on TV or radio, right? That was the mass media. And mass media was very tightly controlled. You had to go to journalism school before you were able to, get experience and write
Right,
for a newspaper.
right.
And
Not
you're
anymore.
trained. Right, exactly. Well, so my point basically is that now with this new ways of reaching millions of people, any idiot sitting
Tom,
in there,
Dick, Harry,
yeah,
Dick,
exactly,
Dick, Dick.
whatever, can just write something and reach millions of
but
people.
before we go on to that particular story with the kotek number one, let's talk about
The angry
let's-
face.
I just want to ask you guys, what do you think about the trace together tokens that's been taken apart by some people?
I think again, these people are really clueless because if you need, again, this is the thing about facts, right? Facts are important. You need to actually look at this. First of all, these things have no internet connectivity, these tokens. They use Bluetooth, and if you are within range of someone else, it is basically just letting you know you're within range of someone else. The information is kept on the token. No one accesses it unless you are tested positive for COVID.
Correct.
Then they will open up the token and all of that. Now, the thing about this, which really gets me, is that the people who are spreading this petition about not being tracked and all of that, you've got something here which is tracking you. It's called your phone, right? And if you knew how many apps are tracking you and what you sign over when you agree to a license agreement with an app that you download and what Apple and Google know about you, that is really what you should be worrying about if you're worrying about privacy
Not the
concerns. Not the trace together token.
It's not just
you know?
about privacy, man. Let me tell you, I'm going to read some of the quotes that some of these people said. I tell you, I want to really scream. One clown, I want to name him so badly, but I won't do it, said, "This one seems like an explosive device."
Yeah, that's what the government is doing.
Slap me, please.
They really want to.
Slap me. I can't believe Singapore is so outdated in using a hardware like this. Another clown said, "I refuse to collect it because it looked like a dog tag. Oh, you poor darling. Too many accessories to carry around nowadays."
These must be Gen Z.
No, I don't think so. I think they're more like...
He's
I'm not going to
making
get myself...
sounds. I have no clue what that is. I'm trying to guess out here.
Okay, and then then this other one said, "Very soon they will embed microchips as more and more are comfortable with
Yeah.
sharing their personal
You know,
data." Oh, you're
this
so,
is so-
wonderful at being sarcastic,
This
you
is
woman.
this is really, I have to say, this is just ignorance. All right, come on, young people or old people, whoever people you are. Just really educate yourself.
Stupid
there is
people,
there is nothing to be proud of in living a life where you believe stupid things or you believe things which are not correct. Educate yourselves. This is just.
I just need to ask you guys something because I frankly, call me a dunce, but I just want to clear this. This trace together token, is it compulsory for every citizen to
no,
have?
no.
If you're using your phone on the
you
Trace
use your
Together
phone
app,
or that.
Correct.
Basically,
But
it is because a
Trace
lot of
Together-
old people don't have the phone.
Correct, but Trace
right?
Together
either
app.
or.
Yes,
So
the
it's a
app,
Trace
the
Together
app.
app.
Yes, the Trace Together app.
Otherwise,
We should
it's
just keep
mandatory.
on.
Means you're looking at
Yeah, yeah, but-
every
you-
citizen should
yes.
have
You
a
don't
Trace
need the
Together.
token if you got the Trace Together
Correct.
app.
Right.
That's
No,
it. So
but
it's
if you
either
don't,
or.
because
Yeah.
you could see
Yes.
by the lines and the queues at the community center
Yeah.
how many people needed to get
Yes,
that Trace
that's
Together
fine.
app.
Yeah,
used.
exactly.
the
So
token.
it's
Now, this group of people, aside from the petition, they are also spreading information how to dismantle the the token. First of all, it's illegal, all right? And we know in Singapore, if you do something like that and you're caught, you could end up in jail. So don't do stupid things like that.
But
you
why?
know?
Why are they doing
It is
that?
because they're so afraid
They
they're going to
do
be
it-
tracked.
So
which
what did
is
they do?
so
They open it
absurd.
up. So they go to
No,
this
no.
hardware site, hardware
Yes.
zone.
Yeah.
Yes,
And they
or
learn how
other
to-
sites, and it's spreading also through social
It's
media.
the same
So
attitude like when they keep pirating videos. It's like, I can take something, break it down, show how smart
No,
I
but
am.
in this case,
no,
it really is more of
Yeah.
irrational fear.
Yes, yes.
And I think part of it
So what,
is
by
that-
breaking it down, what are they going to find?
so that it disables the tracking. That's what they're doing.
Yeah,
they say
and-
we're going to
but-
render it useless,
Correct.
so we
the
can carry it
purpose-
around.
Yeah, so the purpose of it, that God forbid you get infected.
Yes, exactly. Then they will open it and see it's been disabled. Then you go to both COVID treatment and then to jail. Okay,
Yeah, just be
So-
compliant, lah. That's all.
And
Just
you know
be
the thing about this,
compliant.
part of the problem is that they really don't realize how much is happening on your phone, because if you actually study it, I would recommend you all watch the wonderful Netflix documentary called The Social Dilemma.
Yes, I've
to
watched
really
it.
see
Yes, yes.
what is happening and how your
yes.
brains and your emotions are being manipulated.
Now, I just think this is another way where some Singaporeans are exhibiting their bad behavior. Because
Yeah.
I'd like to move on to this.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you
Okay,
call
so
it?
we're going to
Yes.
start
Kotek.
Kotek number one now. Okay.
Yeah, Kotek number
So
one.
okay, so to summarize,
Yeah.
don't be a stupid idiot and dismantle your tokens,
Okay.
and don't be one of those people that wrap their heads in tin foil because they're afraid the government's going to read their
Yes.
brain.
Go,
This
go,
is a
go,
rant,
get it,
rant,
go,
rant,
go,
rant,
go,
rant
go,
episode.
Go. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah, rant,
And now
rant,
it's
rant,
my
rant.
turn. And
Okay.
it's my turn to go.
Okay, now Daisy will now bring you Kotek number one.
Kotek number one.
Okay.
Now, to start with, I just want to tell you that I'm really controlling myself out here, because when Kotek number one, God forbid, comes in front
accented
of
the
my
wrong
face,
syllable.
I am going to slap his face, because
Slap his Kotek.
you see, I can't believe, really, as a mother, as a woman, as an Indian woman.
Wait.
Why?
People
No,
don't know
I
what
need
you're
to
talking
tell.
about.
They
People don't know
don't
what
know.
you're
But
talking
hold
about.
on,
Introduce.
wait,
Yeah.
wait.
Okay.
Let me tell them that why I feel so bad before I tell them what it is.
Okay.
Because when you listen to what I'm about to say, you will realize why it is so disgusting. It is also very sad that this is happening in our country, and this is happening by young people on this, on TikTok. So, what am I talking about? So you have this young lad, and he goes and talks about how Indian girl is very smelly, how Indian girls are very bad, and yes, they don't know what they do, they're smelling, and I feel like blech when I see the Indian girls. Really, that's all you could come up with to record on TikTok. Having said that, I don't want to talk about it further, because every time you speak about this, Kotek, did you say?
Yes.
Every time you speak about him, we are giving him more importance. We are, the dislikes or likes or whatever they're happening on TikTok are going up. It is disgusting, people. It's racism. Do we really need to talk about this at this stage?
And
No,
I
we
think
don't.
Aside from this boy, and it's really a boy, he's a scrawny little.
Yeah, I know, and he's
Young,
openly saying
so young,
Indian girls, Indian.
Yeah.
I mean,
I wonder about his environment. I wonder about his upbringing. I wonder about his.
I
state of
wonder
mind.
about his parents.
Okay, you said
Go
that.
over there and
But
just-
I also want to say this: outside of that boy, any other person, and I'm ultra minority. I'm going to use a term that someone used recently, and I think it really describes people like myself, because I'm mixed. As an ultra minority, I just want to say to these people who say, "Ayah, don't be so sensitive." Hey, I slap your face lah.
Today we are going. How many? What are we? We are in
Okay.
a queue,
Okay.
all
Yeah,
waiting
okay.
to
Don't
slap
come and tell me,
people.
don't be so sensitive. As long as you belong to an ethnic majority, you will never understand.
Yep.
No, it's
exactly.
the privilege of
So
being in
don't-
a majority.
Don't come in
Absolutely.
here with your bloody high horse and say stupid shit like that.
Yep.
No, and how does it reflect? Because this goes around the world, right?
Yes.
And you're looking at a Singaporean boy going, Indian girls are smelly, like smelly.
So, okay, this
really, really,
Yeah.
gosh.
part of the problem with the platform of social media is people are trying to get likes, trying to get attention.
Yeah.
And so sometimes they mean what they're saying. Sometimes they do it for outrage. They do it to get attention. Like people who go around slapping strangers, people
Yeah,
who
yeah.
pull so-called pranks. and
Slapping
all
your
of that.
mother.
Yeah.
Slapping your
Yeah,
mother.
There are all kinds of things which bring out the worst in human beings because of the publicity that it offers them. I think there are a couple of things here that we need to consider as a society. One is do not reward and do not spread people who do stupid things like
I
this. All right. So we are talking about this, but we are not showing anything. So do not, if you come across a video which is outrage and designed to provoke outrage, do not spread it.
Yeah.
If it's someone being
And do not like it or any of
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
So
it's
if it's
horrible.
someone
Delete
being
it.
if it's someone being abused, report it to the social media authority that's
Correct.
there. Whether it's
Correct.
TikTok or whatever, because they have reporting mechanisms.
It's been
but don't
removed, right?
share
The
it.
video has
It's been removed.
Somehow it's not
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
But
It's not there.
our producer
Think so.
showed it to me.
Yes.
And I wish he hadn't, because I started the whole, like you literally started talking with this image of this boy talking about smelly.
So
and-
I think a bigger issue here, which we need to be concerned about, really, is whether or not young people out there have got these kinds of racist attitudes in their head and in their hearts. We grew up in a multicultural society, multiracial, multi-religious society in Singapore, and I think that we've done a really good job so far in amalgamating the races, in teaching tolerance. We live together in housing development. We go to the army together.
Yeah,
It's
but
all the
Gilbert,
races.
let me just say that it is, somehow you get the feeling that it is a continuous process of working on it.
Of course,
Because
absolutely.
Even
because
at my age, I feel now, when you see this young boy talking like
Yeah.
this, and you're like, what is he listening to at home?
Yeah.
Or what kind of school is he going to?
So
Because if
obviously
one
that
so
issue
young can
of
talk like
racism
this-
is going to be there with us all the time. And I remember Lee when you were saying, you have to be eternally vigilant about this.
Yes.
You can never.
No, and-
it's the same thing with COVID. You cannot think, now we're fine.
Yeah.
No more COVID, no more racism. No, it's not true. We have to be vigilant. And also to make it socially unacceptable for people like that to think they can put up videos or whatever and be
No,
racist.
Okay, so let me ask you, because you all are more
It's not cool.
professional. No, so you put up a video like this, and maybe they take it down. But as far as he's concerned, it's spread and he's got over 100,000 views or whatever. What are the repercussions for a young man like this?
It depends. Okay, so for example, if you do it and there's violation of their community guidelines, they can take you off it. They can kill your account.
Correct.
Okay?
They killed your account.
It's
but
unlikely
you
they
made
will
the
do
mark.
that, though. It's unlikely they will do that. So what happens is they
Honestly,
might
this
give
is
you a
a
warning.
matter of
Yep.
racism.
Yeah.
And if anyone who saw it decides to lodge a police report, the police will have to attend to it, in my opinion. And because it goes against the grain of our national pledge.
Yes.
Well, it's also against
And
the law.
I think it's our
because there
constitution,
is,
isn't
yeah.
it?
Well, there is also the cyber laws, so it does go against that. But I think that on a larger point here is that we as a society just cannot accept this kind of thing.
Agree.
And don't reward
Yeah,
people
we
like
can't.
that.
No, and I'm glad we are
and
calling
don't think
it
it's
out.
cool. Yes,
No,
and we need to
here
call it
at-
out, basically.
In our humble opinion, all three of us are calling this out.
Yeah.
And we are making it loud and clear. This is not acceptable.
Yeah.
Now, your kotek. Over to your kotek.
Okay, this is Kotek number 2, right?
Kotek number 2.
I can't
Today
believe you
we
just said, and now Yokote, and you pointed at him.
Oh my goodness.
What
Did she
does
do
that
that?
mean?
Did she do that?
Yes.
No, you
She said, now
people.
She
Yokote.
still doesn't. Okay.
Now, are you going to quote about your kotek?
After producer says cut, later we explain to you, okay?
Gosh, these guys are really mean to me.
Okay.
Discrimination is going on this
Okay.
panel, and I
Oh,
want to make
stop, will you?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, this is his post on Facebook by a gentleman named Syed. And he wrote about what happened 10 months ago. And he wrote 10 months ago. This happened over 10 months ago. I think he let this stew probably for all this time and decided to just recount his experience. And he did say this. He said, I understand that this is a little too late, but I believe this is something which is neither a trivial matter nor an everyday occurrence. Therefore, I've decided to break my silence on this. In his defense, that's what I'm saying. It's not
Yeah,
just because
yeah,
it happened
yeah.
10 months ago, we're talking about it now. He said he was at work last year in the morning, about 9:30, and he works in the CBD area, and he was covering for a colleague who was on leave. He's about 10 minutes after that, he received a phone call from Tan Tock Seng Hospital, who was attending to his late father then.
Who was terminally ill.
He was terminally ill. And the father appeared to be unresponsive. That's what the doctors said, but still alive. And he was advised by the doctor to please come and see your father now, okay, before it's too late. He said, Syed said that he told his operations manager, who happened to be there at the time of the phone call, and covering for his team leader, that he had to rush down to the hospital as you know, because of this phone call by the doctor. His dad is on his deathbed, but that wasn't. Don't forget, that's about 9+ in the morning. His operations manager said that he was only able to release him at 4 p.m. Now think about that. 9+ in the morning, you release a guy at 4 p.m. and his father is dying.
Yeah.
Now, Syed said that he further responded that he's unable to remain till such a time because, I mean, that could go any time, right?
Yeah.
So his operations manager agreed to a compromise and deciding not to make him remain at work until that time, 4 p.m. But he didn't release him right away, and instead insisted that he remain for a further hour over the excuse that he needed him to help him clear his backlog. An hour later, that's 10:30 in the morning, the doctor called again and said that his teams they're now closely monitoring his dad and have to place him on life support. After which, he phoned his mother and told her the situation and asked her to please rush down to the hospital. He informed his operations manager again that he had to rush down and see his dad, and that his mother's already on her way there. But again, the OM insisted that he stay back for that 1 hour more, okay, to clear the backlog. At 11:30, for the third and final time, he told his OM again and begged him to please let him go. His mom had already arrived at the hospital waiting for him, but the OM responded, and I quote, "But I thought that your mother is not being concerned about your father's well-being." And unquote. He replied, I quote, "It's not about whether she's being concerned or not, but what matters is that the doctor told me that my father appeared unresponsive. Because of that, he's very likely to pass away any time. Therefore, he urged me to make my way now." End quote. So at that point, he released him. So Mr. Syed arrived at the hospital at 11:42, received a phone call, or on the way to the hospital, about 11:42 a.m., received another phone call from the same doctor again, and to inform him that his father had passed away. Now, a week after the passing, I'm going to skip to this, he got terminated. Okay? After his OM lodged a complaint against him for taking many days of leave, which is deemed to be unapproved, despite having explained to them countless number of times that he had to take care of his father for 2 weeks until a certain particular date. That was really the very final moments of his life, since he got hospitalized. And Syed is the only caregiver. And no one else were able to look after him during this period. He's lying down at home all day, health deteriorating. And so based on that leave period from work, he did actually, during that period, he did actually keep both the HR and OM notified, according to him. Okay? And then in the end, they still got rid of him. Now, I think the plight of carers I like to call them carers now because I've just had a guest on my show last week on KWC, and he is a caregiver, but since I've met him, I like to use the term carers. Okay, a lot about these people are not being understood in society, and I also think some employers and some, they've got to really search themselves a little bit more, and not treat people like this. Imagine, every one of us have got parents. Whether you love them or hate them, that's not the point. The point is that you respect the fact that some people have got normal families, right? So this man just needed time to just go and say goodbye to his dad.
No,
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
And
So the OM is the kotek number 2. Let me be clear.
no, look, I agree with you. Our condolences go to Syed for the loss of his father. It's a very sad story. I feel bad for Syed. Having said that, we've heard Syed's story. It's very terrible. But it would be good to hear the response of the operations manager also
Sure.
to understand the
I
full
think
picture.
there are two separate points
Yeah,
here.
because sometimes we rush to a conclusion. Obviously, in this case, when you hear Syed's story, you get so touched.
Okay.
Yeah.
But having said that, I'm not really sure what was
Sure.
happening.
I
at
think
work.
that there are two points here that I
Yeah.
like to talk about. Now, one is the termination because of not being able to go to work because he's caring for father. That's one separate issue.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other one is the urgency when he gets the call. I think that regardless of circumstances, if someone gets a call from the hospital saying your father is terminally ill,
He has to leave.
he has to go.
Correct.
Yeah.
That one has to be just basic common human decency.
Yes.
Correct, agreed.
If you want to bring up the issue later on and say, I want you, it's unwarranted or
Yes,
what,
yes.
that's fine. Let him go first,
yes.
then you deal with it later.
Later.
That makes you feel so sad, right? Like
Yeah,
what Chris
you know,
said. That
that's
there are people like
absolutely,
that who would stop you
Yes.
from seeing your
a couple
dying
of things. I'll just tell you
father.
about I have personal experience with this because when my father, who passed away in 2006, was very ill in the hospital in Mount Alvernia, taken good care of. We got a call from the doctor saying that we don't think it's going to last the night. You need to come down immediately. So I remember at that time I didn't drive. I rushed to the taxi stand. There was a long queue, So I went to the front of the queue and I just asked the guy, I said, I'm so sorry. Can I get your spot because I need to get to the hospital to see my father? No problem. He said, go ahead, you take my spot. I
Oh.
got into it, rushed to the hospital, managed to go upstairs. My mom, my brother, my sister were already there. And within 5 minutes of me arriving, my dad passed away. And I'm so glad I made it.
Yes,
Okay?
yes,
So I understand how that is, that
Oh,
urgency,
yes,
you know?
Yes.
And a couple of years after that, when I was waiting for a taxi outside of my apartment at Holland Village, a taxi came, I was hailing a taxi, and this older lady and this young boy came running up towards me. And the boy said, I'm so sorry, mister, is it okay we take your taxi because we just got a message that my grandma going to pass away in hospital, we don't want to rush. I said, of course, please get you there. The taxi driver said, where? And they said, the hospital. My. And I yelled at the cab driver. I said, no, uncle, 很重要,
yes,
very
please.
important.
Yeah.
他们要去 hospital, I
Yes,
explained to them.
yes.
Oh, no. And he just drove off. I was so angry.
And shocked,
I
right?
was so angry when I saw this, I was like, how can a cab driver do this? I don't care if your shift is changing. This
No,
is a
so
life
are
and
we
death
losing
stuff.
our humanity?
I think that
I
there
mean,
are
this
cases like
is
that. So,
very-
with these poor people, I just felt so bad for them. Luckily, I saw another taxi. I ran across the street. I got a taxi for them. And I asked them to cross the street, And I actually posted this on my Facebook because it made such an impression on me. So I think that first and foremost, always, whenever there are situations like that, you damn the rules.
Don't be selfish lah.
Yeah, just be human. Just be human,
Wait. Smoke coming out. Okay. All right.
I think that this kind of thing people just need to be. So regardless of what this OM's excuse could be, I think it's unforgivable if
It
you
is.
get a call. I think it's a bit different if he says, hey, I think my dad might be ill or what. But if you get a call from the hospital and the
Says
doctor,
his last moments,
you just give the
you
benefit
just-
of the doubt.
Agreed.
I just
let
want
them
to say
go.
this. I just
Yeah.
want to say this. If there's any truth to this story, and this man, this poor guy, was treated this way by this
Yeah.
superior of his,
Yeah.
I want to say, that I hope that this superior doesn't go through the same shit he put this poor guy through.
Yeah.
No.
I think it's
Okay.
terrible.
Just
I
I don't want to wish ill on him. but you are kotek.
Yeah, well, there's karma. You think about this, you basically
Karma
treat,
is a bitch.
yeah,
Karma is a
comes
bitch.
back.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've met her a couple of times.
yeah, treat people the way you want to be treated. That's
yes.
really
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so
now-
let's close off right now, guys. We've been talking for more than an hour actually.
Hmm.
So, court time.
Okay, you guys go ahead first because you're
Daisy-
ready.
No, but we've got less time, so the quotes have to be quite short and sweet. I'm telling you.
Mine is super short
Because if
today.
you're going to sing that whole song,
I'm not
now,
singing a
we
damn
have
thing.
All right, we're wasting time right now.
All
Stop.
right. So, okay.
Kong,
So
eh?
today's stories, we talked about fake news and the social media and its impact on our belief system. So I just want to say something about that. And on that matter, I'd like to quote writer Danny J. Kale. And
Is he a vegetable?
says- and he says, now,
Kale,
stop.
K-A-L-E.
Stop.
Okay.
This is my moment
Unknown.
to stop
Alright.
and close.
Here we go.
So no need kale and kale.
That's it.
All right. So, doesn't matter what you write, it matters who reads it. Doesn't matter if it's true, it matters who believes it. And that is the nature of the beast that we are dealing with. So, please, you get that fake news, you make sure, like my colleague here said, you look at it, you do your research, just don't take. And for
Don't
that other Kotek, what he said was equally bad. Okay, it was fake news. So, on that note, I'd like to end. Thank you.
Yes.
That one short, man. The quote where got short.
Chim also.
It's like very cheap. I have to think, no.
I have to think.
That's why I didn't want to take out my cap because my head hitting up also. Okay, I want to quote something from Depeche Mode, from a song called Master and Servant. It's very short one. We cannot be like this. You treat me like a dog, get me down on my knees. We call it master and servant. Treat me like that, kiss my ass. Okay. That wasn't a part of the quote.
That was very profound.
That was me.
It was very
Okay, all
profound.
right.
My hair is standing up because I don't wear a cap, but it was very profound.
All right. So
Okay.
that leaves me now to sum up everything, basically. I think that what we've seen from today's show and what we see around us often is that in a very sort of confusing, contradictory, and sometimes cruel world, there are things that happened. But, it is within each of us to stop bad things from happening when we come across it. And sometimes it is easy, I certainly find it that way, to get discouraged when you see people behaving badly and doing bad things. But I'd like to just share with you a personal philosophy of mine, which I try to remind myself every day, which I'd like to share with you guys, is that never stop being a good person because of bad people. I think that's very important, is that we all need to do things to make things a little bit better for someone else. And basically the key is to do your best to alleviate human suffering whenever you see it, and don't spread and do not cause human suffering.
Nice.
So,
okay.
as a thought to take us into the week, thank you very much for joining us. On behalf of Daisy and Chris and
Namaste.
myself.
Namaste.
Apa?
But where's your be kind?
Namaste.
Oh, wait lah.
Okay.
Yeah. Be safe out there and be kind. And do like and comment, and please do let us know what you think of the show, and subscribe and like. Okay? Thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you again next week.
Share.
Yes.
Bye.
Ayoho.
Bloody
Thank
Koteks.
you.
Oh, Koteks today, huh? Bye.
And she talked.